Hello everyone, my name is Alicia Jade and welcome back to the Get Me Off podcast. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Get Me Off podcast. My name is Alicia Jade and thank you so much for joining me today. Why am I turning into I sound like I'm at a church where I'm like a preacher. I have been looking forward to doing this episode, and when I woke up this morning, I wasn't feeling particularly motivated or any of those things that you should feel when you wake up. I did, however, dance to ABBA while I was in the shower, and I did just dance around here to Elton John. So I feel like that made me feel a little bit better. But I had to pop to a meeting earlier, and I went to a cute little shop that I didn't realize had all of this stuff. And it really fed into the theme of today's podcast. So I thought I would show you what I bought. And also then we're going to get onto the topic of today's actual podcast. This is something I could talk for hours about, but we don't have hours. Well, we do, but I doubt you want to spend them listening to me. So the theme of today's podcast is all about manifesting, luck, spiritualism, all of those wonderful kind of things. And this is definitely going to be more of an introductory episode because it's something that I want to talk about a lot more on this podcast, and I will have guests on here that will also talk about this subject. So I'm going to use this as like an introductory kind of episode. So I was never brought up religious or spiritualist or atheist or anythingist. We just kind of made our own choices, and yeah, there was never really, I wasn't christened, anything like that. There was never a religious theme that ran in the family. So I guess in the early years, I didn't really have a core belief system in the sense of the bigger picture. I always used to love going to Burley when I was younger, and I used to love reading the Wicca series of books, which my mum wasn't too happy about because I think sometimes they can be quite intense, but I loved them and I loved reading as well. That was always my favorite thing as a kid, and being realistic is my favorite thing now also. But I used to love going to Burley because they had all of the witchy kind of stuff. So they had the sage and the crystal shops, and I remember getting packs of cards that had different places on them, and I would sit in my room and try and imagine myself in these other places, thinking I was a complete weirdo, but actually realistically what I was doing is a very early form of manifestation. So as I got older and our family circumstances changed and things like that, my mum got very into crystals. I say very, she's probably less into all of it now than I am, but she got quite into crystals and she started teaching me about different ones. She bought me a rose quartz. She's bought me a couple of others over the years and things like this. And I've gradually got into a lot more, not just through her, but through multiple other people. So I've always quite liked astrology as well, and I know that my star sign is a Leo, and I am very much the epitome of a Leo. There's not many personality traits of a Leo that I don't have. I also have a black cat who is usually, I guess, to other people would be considered bad luck, but to me, he is my absolute baby, and I always wanted a black cat. And my lucky number is the number 13. So over the years, I have become what I would consider as a spiritualist, and that's more to do with the universe and energy and the moon and star signs and planets and all of that lovely stuff that goes with that, crystals and incense and sage and manifestation and all of those kind of things. But it also brings itself into, I understand religion a bit better now because everybody's still talking about the same thing. We're still talking about the same entity. We're still talking about the same forces. I'm just not calling it a god or a person. I'm calling it the universe. So I started getting into crystals and things like that. And then I met a girl who is now one of my lovely, lovely best friends. Her name is Chloe, and she runs a business called Mooncraft and Magic. I'm sure if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen me tag it many, many times. But she sells the most incredible sage kits. She gave me I think I bought my first tarot card set from her, and then she gifted me the book to go with the cards so that I can read them and things like that. That was gifted to her by her parents, because technically it's supposed to be gifted to you from somebody. That's how it's supposed to work in terms of I don't know what the word is for that. Traditionally maybe is the right word for that. So yeah, I've amassed quite a collection now. I carry crystals around with me all the time. And there was also a couple of years ago, one of my friend's mums brought me some crystals in at work, and I carry those around with me every day still. And she also gave me a recommendation for a really good book. And I think it was, I can't remember what it was, but it was Joe Dispenza, and it was like a big greeny, bluey book. Google Joe Dispenza and you'll find the book. So I don't know what a spiritualist, let's Google the actual meaning. So then you have something called spirituality or spiritualism. And it says it's also practiced in India, but modern and ancient forms involving contacting spirits, knowledge and wisdom of ancestors who are worshipped for generations. Spirituality in general is seen as the process of learning the secrets of the world beneath and outside to gain inner peace. So spirituality and spiritualism, oh, they all sound like the same word to me. But spirituality is a balance of the mind, body, and soul. Very important to have faith, integrity, focus, and to be present. I'm still going to use the word spiritualist because to me, that's what it means. I also call the universe Sky Daddy, and I can't remember where I first saw it. It was on like a movie or something like that. My mum hates the fact that the universe has to be a man because it's Sky Daddy, but I don't know. It just kind of stuck. It was a name that stuck for me. My journey has evolved so much over the last couple of years. And when I met Chloe, I remember she told me I was going through something called my Saturn return. And that's when you're in your kind of late 20s, early 30s, Saturn returns to the same place that it was when you were born. And this basically wreaks havoc with your life sometimes and causes so much change, shakes everything up, and basically gets you back to your most authentic self. So I can definitely see how this has happened in my life and how this has influenced certain decisions and certain things have happened. And I follow it a lot more closely. So my biggest thing recently has been surrendering to the universe and seeing different signs in things and looking for lucky numbers, looking for signs and signals, looking for lucky charms and all of those kind of things within daily life and also when making decisions. And I think, to be honest, even if you don't believe that there's, I don't know, even if you don't necessarily believe certain things, it's not physically possible for energy to ever die. So all of the energy that around us has to go somewhere. And I'd rather think that I'm listening to where it's going in a way, because to me, scientifically, that just makes sense. So I tried to follow the moon cycles as well. So new moon, full moon, things like that. They all have a name. They all have a meaning. There's all things to do with, is it one to do with releasing things? Is it one to do with making decisions? There's so many different things. And I also noticed the Apple Weather app now has the moon on it. So it will tell you if it's waning or, what's the other one? I can't remember, but it will tell you if it's like waning or full moon or or a crescent moon or all of these different things. So it's actually in there now, which is good. So through many different choices and all of these different things that have happened in my life, I've kind of got to the point where, I did get to the point where controlling things was not making me happy, and it didn't feel like I was very in tune with anything. So I made a conscious decision to follow the signs from the universe, follow things that came to me, follow opportunities that came to me, try not to close the door on anything. If it wasn't authentic to me and my morals or my beliefs or my choices, then yes, I'm not going to do it. But if it's just something unexpected, then why not give it the opportunity? Why not go for it? They say that people come into your lives at different points, opportunities come into your lives when you're open to more things and all of this kind of stuff. So I'm kind of going with it at the moment. And there was a really, really good video that I found. This is a guy called Adam Roa, and it's Roa as in ROA on Instagram. So adam.roa. And he made this really good video and I watched it like 20 times in a row because it just made so much sense to me. So I'll play it for you now. It's so interesting.
When we ask for something from the universe, we will be given the opportunity to have it. If we say no to it, the universe has to come up with a whole different way. And here's the thing like, To give you your dream is not an easy thing to do, right? There's a lot of pieces that have to fall together to give you your dream on a silver platter. So when you say no, like it comes to you, this is the universe thing, oh, here, it's all put together, and you say no, then it becomes, think of the complex nature of what now has to happen for it to show up again in a completely different way. And it's still going to show up in a way that you can't comprehend. So you're still going to, at some point, you're going to have to say yes to something that you can't foresee. To get to your dreams, at some point in time along the way, you will have to say yes to the unknown. It has to.
I just love that video so much. Saying yes to the unknown, like, I don't know. I just find, I just find it so interesting, and we can't control everything around us. And I don't know. There's so many things I could talk about. There's the invisible string theory. There's just so many different things. And obviously, as I said, this will just be an introduction and me just talking about my experience and things like that. But I will obviously go into more detail with a lot more of these things. And I'm just sharing with you some of the things that I've saved over the years and some of the things that I go back to in my phone just to have a little look at. So there's obviously the more negative way of thinking and a more positive way of thinking. So there's a growth mindset and then there's a victim mindset at the same time. And I'm trying to learn how to use the growth mindset a lot more instead of the victim mindset. So for example, why is this happening to me turns into what is this teaching me? I regret that experience turns into I needed that to grow. I'll never be good enough turns into it's not a competition. What's wrong with me turns into nothing. You're having a human experience. Now that's from a girl called It's Already Yours on Instagram. And I do it all the time because if something bad happens, I'm like, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Actually, I'll give you a really good example. I will give you a very, very good example of an inexplicable situation that happened 2 to 3 weeks ago. And I just put my hands up and said, I can't explain that. So I was coming in to film podcast episodes and a few days before this, my camera lens had broken. Now, obviously, that's quite upsetting because I wasn't really then able to film the episodes. There will be some that have been filmed on my phone because the camera broke and there was nothing I could do about it. I then came back 2 days later. I went and bought a new lens. I then came back to filming 2 days later, and my laptop battery that had been on its last legs for maybe like 2 years. So yes, it was probably my fault for not getting it fixed before. But I opened my laptop to use it and it wasn't really working properly. I then got a random payment from an affiliate company that I work with for like £120 or something like that. And I wasn't expecting it. So I was like, oh, that's a nice little surprise. I wonder where that came from. And then my laptop battery completely broke. So I couldn't record the audio for the podcast that I was filming that day. So she's having to come back again to record it with me again. So I phoned up a shop and the reason I didn't get it done before is because Apple takes like 3 to 4 weeks to get it done. And I work from home, I work from my laptop. I can't be without my laptop for that long. So I phoned up this shop and I said, how much is it to replace this battery? They said, we've got one left and it's £150, including fitting it. And we'll have it done by 4 p.m. And it was about 2:00 at this point, something like that. And I went in and I just thought that random payment that I wasn't expecting that came through has paid for, basically, my laptop to be fixed so that I can continue doing my podcast and all my other work that I love doing without it actually costing me anything. And it blew my mind. And then I went into the shop and I got it fixed and I was chatting to the guy and I explained that my camera broke, that broke, and then about the payment and things like that. And he went, wow. He was like, that sounds like that was a test and you passed. And I just think like those are things that just happen. There's no such thing as a coincidence, realistically. Like things happen for a reason. And sometimes I hate that saying because it sounds really cheesy and it kind of diminishes the whole thing. But you can't explain when things happen in those orders. And that's just how it goes. Just blows my mind sometimes. So let's talk about what I bought recently. So actually, let's talk about the jewelry I've got on. Okay. So obviously all of my tattoos, I've got my birth year, I've got my star sign, and I've got a small tattoo of the number 13, which is my lucky number, and I've got a tattoo of a black cat on the back of one of my ankles. On my wrist, I always wear well, I say always, I bought this last year, so always since then. I have an evil eye on a gold bracelet, and I heard of something the other day on TikTok, and basically you're supposed to keep an evil eye on you, so you're supposed to wear one all the time because it absorbs the negative energy, and then when it's ready to release or like get rid of it from you, the bracelet will break, or like that you'll lose the ring, or whatever it is that has the evil eye on it, you won't be able to find it, or it'll break, or it'll be gone. And that's when it's absorbed as much negative energy as it can, and then it goes. So then I also have a little beaded bracelet that says Leo, and it's got 2 little beads on the side for my star sign, and this was given to me by Chloe. She'll feature a lot in anything to do with spiritual stuff, or I call it woo-woo witchy stuff, and I love it. I love calling it that. And maybe I'll call the episode woo-woo witchy stuff. But nobody will listen to it because they won't understand what I'm talking about. Then I have 2 crystal bracelets, which make great ASMR sounds, by the way. Let's try this. I can't wait to listen to that back. The green one is for abundance. I've forgotten what crystal that one is, but that one's for abundance, and Chloe gave me that one the other day. And then I have a citrine one, which is for manifestation. So it's for taking action on the things that you manifest. It's for encouraging other manifestations, that kind of thing. What else have I got on me? I think that's all. Necklaces. I've got a necklace with Leo, my star sign, on it, and then the other 2 are just like normal jewelry. So yeah, I have a lot of stuff with me every day. So let's go through what I bought. So I found this little shop. If you're in Southampton, there's a shop in the Marlins upstairs, and outside it's got like games. It's got like a mannequin, something like that. I can't remember what it's called for the life of me, but it's next to the pancake shop. It's next to Stacks, and in there they've got like one half that's got like old records and games and all this kind of retro stuff that I could spend hours looking at anyway. And then on the other side they've got crystals, jewelry, sage, incense, like literally everything. They've got like oracle cards, so many different kinds of things. I could have spent hours in there. I was chatting to the women. They're so lovely. And I went in there. I'm going to go back in as soon as I'm trying to buy a house. So as soon as I'm in a position where I'm like, okay, maybe I've got like £100 spare, I'm going to go in and buy everything. And when I say everything, I mean like 20 packs of incense, like 12 different crystals, a million different crystal bracelets. Like I want all of it. Like give me everything. Today, however, I didn't go completely crazy. I bought some new incense, and it's the Positive Vibes incense. Now, I bought back quite a lot of incense from Bali, but I'm going through it because I use an incense every day, maybe twice a day. So I'm going through it quite quickly. I've also got sage that I've got from Chloe's business, which I will obviously leave linked because I'm talking about it. And I've got Palo Santo, which is a really, really beautiful smelling burning wood. What else have I got? I've got quite a few different things, but I don't know. I liked that this incense was called Positive Vibes. So I'm going with this one. And this is a really good brand as well. It's the Satya incense. It's a really good brand of incense. I bought some of their stuff when I was in Nice in France as well recently. And then I also bought something I've never ever seen before. It's like a little ball. It looks like like those Deliciously Ella like protein balls. It looks like one of those. And I was asking the women what it is, and they explained it to me. And basically, it's a sage or like something ball, and you put it in a obviously fireproof dish, and you light it like you would sage, and you blow it to obviously get it going. And then apparently it like comes, that's what they're called, the something bombs, and it comes out with like a puff of like the incense and all of this different stuff. I don't know, I'm just really interested to try it. because they seem really interesting. And they said that so many people have done one of them and then come back and been like, oh my God, this smells amazing. This is so cool. I want to buy another one. So chances are I'm going to be buying boxes of those when I go back and buy loads of stuff. So we'll see about that. We'll see how that goes. There's another guy on Instagram that I think you would absolutely love if you are enjoying this episode. So he's called JB_Copeland. So COPELAND. And I could just sit and scroll through his videos constantly. They're amazing. So I'll play you maybe one or two, but they're so good. So let's listen to the first one.
Stop chasing it. Stop trying to force it. The only thing that you need to think about is, am I in a good place? Am I living from the overflow? Am I walking through the healing journey? Am I getting better every day? Because what's going to happen is you're going to stop trying to force it, and what's for you is going to come to you.
Okay, let's do another one of his. This is like story time for me. I'm showing you my favorites. It's like show and tell.
Just want to remind you that the peace that you will gain by going through this season will be worth everything that you lost.
And then it says, this piece is expensive, but we paid in full. Love that.
Saying how you feel will never ruin an authentic connection. So say how you feel and see what's real. That's it. That's the video.
Honestly, his videos are so good. I love it. They're amazing. And then let's play one last one. And this is by someone called Dr. Claudia Thompson on Instagram. And I found this today. And it's just so nice. It's so nice to sit and listen to these. And even if you don't believe in the universe or any of those things, it's nice to sit and listen to something positive.
If this message found you, then it's truly meant for you. These messages come from my guides, and they've asked me to share. I don't put any hashtags or captions on these messages, so they go wherever they're meant to go. So if this found you, you may want to stop and take a listen. Regardless of how you're feeling, anchor in gratitude, anchor in unconditional love, anchor in the faith that everything is working out for the highest good, and refuse any energies that root in fear, anger, frustration, lack. Because there's two sides trying to manifest two very different futures, one existing in much more light and one much more dense. What you pay attention to right now matters. This is how you make a difference. This is how you choose the future you want. Scarcity isn't real. It just feels like it is. And when you shift your focus to gratitude, your world expands from a higher vibrational space. And while it may feel silly and insignificant to write your gratitude down every single day, repeating the same things over and over, it makes a much larger difference than you could even comprehend. Gratitude expands high vibrational emotions exponentially. Do the silly little things each day and watch what happens. You've got this. Keep going.
So yeah, you can see what I do in my spare time as I sit and watch all of these little videos. But if this is something that you're interested in and you want to hear more about, and there's different parts of it that you want to learn, maybe different types of crystals or different types of meditation or different types of therapy or healing or all of these different things, I am so wanting to talk about all of this a lot more. And I will have guests that come in and talk about this on the podcast. So if you've enjoyed this, I really hope you are looking forward to more episodes about it. And if there is a topic that you want me to cover or anything that you would like to see, if I know someone who can come on as a guest and talk about it a lot more, I will go out there and find someone. So message me, comment, ask me questions, and let's have this a collaborative effort for this podcast, that we all want to learn different things and we all want to talk about them and we all want to expand our knowledge and be as happy and as peaceful as we can be. I'm turning into a hippie. But anyway, I think I've waffled on enough for one episode. So thank you very, very much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day or evening, whatever you're doing. And I will see you again, or you'll hear me again in the next episode. Thank you very much.